2022 has been a fantastic year for metal music, but before we wrap things up, let's take a look forward to some of the more anticipated albums of 2023.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
First up, we continue with this new renaissance of melodic death metal with Foregone from In Flames. I honestly had lost all hope a long time ago of this band dropping anything I would be remotely interested in, but given the recent string of singles, it seems like they have really tapped into their roots to bring back the elements that made them a household name to begin with. Here's hoping it pans out, and I look forward to updating the discography tier list.
Don't fuck this up, Mitchell!
There's also been rumblings for a while now of new material from Morbid Angel, Cattle Decapitation, and Atheist, but we can definitely get our death metal fix with Obituary Dying of Everything. As I've stated in several death metal tier lists, I'm not a huge fan of this band, but that said, the songs in the lead up go pretty damn hard and hone in on the elements that work for me while avoiding some of the tropes that have turned me off in the past. And regardless of my own feelings, I think that a lot of death metal fans are chomping at the bit for this one.
That's some heavy shit, man.
We're also supposed to finally get the latest progressive death metal from Entheos. If you're not familiar with this group, you really need to check out 2017's Dark Future. It's got those same techie, proggy, and atmospheric elements as other groups like Warforged, Inanimate Existence, and The Faceless. And this album sees the band with an almost entirely new lineup since then, aside from Naveen Kopervice and the always intense vocal stylings of Cheney Crab. After over 5 years and given the singles, I'm pretty confident that this is going to be a must listen.
Hold on to your butts.
Also on that progressive death metal front, we're getting new Contrarian with Sage of Shekinah. You may have seen me wearing this band's killer long sleeve in a few videos, and I was so glad that they reached out to let me know more music was coming soon. Despite being a bit of a deeper cut in the prog death scene, I feel like they've developed a bit of a cult following over their last 5 releases, and I'm actually lucky enough to have an opportunity to listen to this one already, but I'm putting it off at least a little bit longer so it's still fresh when it comes time to talk about it. And there's also Insomnium's Anno 1669. While In Flames seem to be bringing the aggression, Insomnium continue to deliver on the more dark and melancholic side of the genre, with lead single Lillian bringing both their strengths in bellowing death growls and transcendent cleans. I was a little lukewarm on 2019's Hearts Like a Grave, but I loved Winter's Gate and their more acoustic EP Argent Moon, so I'm hoping that this one is also more my speed.
Not quite my tempo.
Hopping to Metalcore for a bit, we're due for the latest opus from Periphery, which I cannot wait to hear. I also hear a lot of my audience wondering if we'll finally get that long-awaited Avenged Sevenfold album, and I'm sure that a continuation of Bring Me the Horizon's post-human EP series and more Ice 9 Kills will be tentpole releases. Do I feel some new cringe meters coming on?
Oh my god!
But personally, on the metalcore front, I'm far more interested in August Burns Red returning with Death Below.
My judgment is clouded by the blood we shed. We built that truth.
I've frequently said that August Burns Red is one of the last remaining 2000s era metalcore bands still bringing not only the best of that sound, but some of their best material to date. And based on that killer Jesse Leach collab with Ancestor, I have a feeling that this trend will continue with Death Below. Be ready for absolute Riff City.
Seriously, you only cheat yourself if you cut corners with crappy guitar playing.
American Standards are also dropping Dopamine Dealer. These guys lean more into the hardcore and mathcore sound, and if it's anything as good as their past few singles, you're going to want to check it out. Be sure to also listen to 2017's Anti-Melody full length while you're at it. And finally, likely signs of a new Jesus Peace album. These guys are fucking dummy heavy, and definitely recommended for fans of Code Orange, Loathe, and Vane FM. They just haven't gotten the same level of respect just yet.
Respect. R-E-S-P-C-T.
Turning to black metal, the mighty Immortal have announced War Against All, though again, as of recording this, I have not heard any new songs, but we have heard the latest from one of my all-time favorite bands in Enslaved with Heimdall. This is one of those few bands for me where I'm on board with virtually anything they decide to do and don't have a single dud in their impressively lengthy discography. There are certainly albums I enjoy more than others, but each new cycle brings exciting surprises. And it's precisely that unpredictability that makes them such a fun band to follow. Based on the music so far, it seems as though they're continuing down that kind of psychedelic and classic prog leanings of Utgard, but it's really impossible to truly know until the full thing drops in early March. And speaking of longer compositions and vast atmosphere, we're also getting a new album from Imperium Dekadenz with Into Sorrow Evermore. I absolutely loved When We Are Forgotten, with this German duo taking me to another plane with black metal that seems ripe for meditation and yoga without sounding in the least bit hipster. Their sound is absolutely stunning. Also, from more underground territory, we have the psychedelic black metal stylings of Entropia with Total. No pre-release material on that one just yet, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, we're waiting.
On the deathcore side of things, we're getting the second half of the new Chelsea Grin material in Suffer in Heaven. But there are actually two other releases I'm much more stoked about in 2023. First, there's Brand of Sacrifice. No full announcement just yet, but goddamn did Exodus continue to showcase why this is one of the fastest growing bands in the genre. Their killer fusion of head-bobbing grooves and infectious symphonic elements is still fully on display from the critically lauded Lifeblood, and while impressions seem to be split on the incorporation of clean vocals, I'm always down for a band to continue experimenting with the formula.
Just hook it to my veins!
And same likely goes for To the Grave with Director's Cut. These guys are much earlier in their influence trajectory, but I already see their name coming up quite a bit in conversation, and it's no wonder why. Epilogue was a surprise banger for me in 2021, and especially tracks like Wreck left me excited to see what would come next. And given the continued strength of Acts of Kindness and Red Dot Sight, it seems likely that we're only going to hear more of this name this year. Highly recommended for fans of stuff like Darko.
What music are you into? I like this. It's very grown up.
Continuing on to some other material, there's a good chance we'll finally get that new follow-up Vektor album, although their signing and subsequent drop from Century Media Records has to be some sort of world record. I've also gotten some requests over the years to rank the albums of Avatar, and it seems like I might have another opportunity to do so. But far more than that, I see quite a bit of my audience looking forward to Obliviscaris and Exul. Another big gap here with the previous album Urn, released all the way back in the distant pre-COVID past of 2017. Obliviscaris is one of those bands that seem to hit the scene hard and resonate very quickly, especially with Citadel in 2014, which was an album that seemed completely inescapable if you were following metal music even remotely closely at the time. Their penchant for haunting violin, mixed vocal styles, and lengthy compositions continues with Equus, which is already 12.5 minutes of impressive musicianship to kick things off strong. And then, of course, I honestly could care less about this one, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least mention how many people are ready for the return of Metallica with 72 Seasons.
Don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
Look, I'm at least interested to see how it turns out, and I'll keep an open mind, but as I said in my second channel reaction, Lux Eterna doesn't feel like a strong start for me. Very paint-by-numbers, off an assembly line sounding song. Now, obviously there are plenty more, and you can share those in the comments, but be sure to check out my best metal albums of 2022 videos if you have not already, and I will see you in the trenches.